When last we left our adventurers, they had delved into the lair of the beholder Xanathar and had just gotten done cleaning out the kitchen from its way too many cooks. But upon further exploration, they found a strange room, this crypt that had different canisters holding other beholders, as well as strange murals and representations. But after venturing through a secret passage, they arrived in an arena where Xanathar himself greeted them and hired them as his replacement cooks, because he was hungry. After a little bit of a montage in the kitchen, the party fed Xanathar only to choke on the noxious fumes that he lives in, at which point Xanathar gets upset with the party for dare suggesting what he should do. A fight ensues, and the party loses Eve. A stray death ray strikes Eve and slays her. The party quickly dispatches Xanathar thereafter, but now journeyed back to the Temple of Saloon to seek the aid of their new cleric friend. But it didn't seem like there was any hope to be found there. Meanwhile, Eve, in this strange space, spoke with Amaranth, as well as viewing different aspects of that which makes up the soul, all the emotions that we all feel. And after a bit of a pep talk, was surrounded in silver flame and brought back to life under her own power. You are at 1 hit point, Eve. And you awaken inside of a room that you're not familiar with. Looks like the early morning. Is there anyone who would be in the room?
Eve!
Veritas?
Tears streaming out as this almost gelatinous blob thing just semi-tackles you, like hugging you.
Oh, Veritas. Hey, good morning, I guess. Oh, it's alright, buddy. It's alright. I know, I'm sure that was scary. Kind of like trying to hug the gelatinous blob back. Everything's okay. I'm alright.
I didn't think I would get to you again.
Hey, it's okay. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. Not too much to do.
A slight jingle of something as you, if you would look down, you would see the red, almost pendant that Veritas has been holding on to for a while. The parapet wound closure.
Is it like, does Veritas have it, or like, did he put it on?
You have it on, like, you would see it around your neck, Eve, like.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You would also see that Chelavi is sitting in a chair nearby, although it looks like they are resting at the moment and haven't awoken to the commotion.
Eve lowers her voice a bit. By the way, is the silver fire still a thing?
No, that is dissipated.
Okay. rubs the blob on its non-existent back. It's
It's still firm enough for you to pat, yeah.
Pat the
hey,
blob.
is everyone else all right? Did you guys manage to get away from Xanathar?
He's dead.
That doesn't surprise me in the least. Knew you guys would have it. And
Bosch skewered it, and that's not all. There's this kind of going into a lower, a little bit sadder tone. But still haven't he showed up.
he did. In there? Oh, shite. I'm
Yeah.
shocked I still have a soul to come back with.
He couldn't take it. He did want to see you come back. And he's said that the children aren't there.
Oh, shite.
It's
Sorry, Veritas.
He knows. It seems like he knows everything we're about to do before we even do it.
But, kind of like tries to pull back a little bit. But he didn't know we were there the whole time because your children were in there while we were there. Because you listened in on them, right? So, I think probably losing our element of surprise was what tipped him off about that. But we were so close. We were so close, Veritas. And I'm sorry it didn't work out this time, but it'll be alright. We found them once, and nothing is going to stop us from finding them again. And this next time, we are not going to waste time on diplomacy. No playing nice with whoever's got them hostage. Promise.
The Bob kind of nods the head, or what you would think would be a head. Aside from that, we were able to find some stuff.
Okay, what'd you guys find?
I'm assuming that Gaz told us about the rings and what they were.
Yes. They're all in the bag of holding.
There were 3 rings that Xanathar had. One for a ring of mind shielding to protect one's thoughts from being read. A ring of resistance to force, and a ring of invisibility.
That's a pretty good haul, I'd say.
And
The mind shielding ring, it'll probably be very helpful for, keeping our plans a secret from people.
probably should go to Chelavi or myself to prevent stillhavity.
I agree.
And we also found a hoard of gold that Xanathar kept underneath a giant fishbowl.
Oh, okay, interesting place for it, I guess. Alright, so we're flush with money. We can stock up on whatever we need to prepare for our next steps. That's good news.
We also have a new companion. Turning over to a small table where there is now a goldfish, I believe. They're just swimming around in a bowl.
Blub. Blub.
Oh, was that the one in Salazar's place?
Bosch was feeling really bad for it. There would be no one to take care of it, so brought him along.
Well, that's nice. Surprised that Xanathar was taking care of a goldfish. Didn't seem like he really cared about anything or anyone, but yeah, it's not the little guy's fault that he was under poor management.
Yeah, Bosch also talked with him and confirmed that Stillhabity was making dealings with Xanathar.
It's good information to have. Well, whatever deal was there seems to be cut short now. So that'll hopefully disrupt things for him a bit.
I turn back to you, and I'd like you to keep that pendant with you. It's kept me safe for a while, but I feel like I want to entrust it to you, Eve.
Oh, Veritas, that's... Thank you. It's very sweet. But... are you sure you don't want to hold on to it? I mean, aside from this one incident, I'm usually okay taking care of myself, and I think now I'll be even more so.
Kind of looks at you, or the slime kind of like would tilt its head if it could. Even more so? What do you mean?
Well, during the process of being not here, I had an enlightening conversation with someone who helped me realize that things are never as dire as they seem, and I have more strength to face them than I usually think I do. And it had some great effects, that pep talk, I'll say. I think I'd like to share that with everyone. Looking around. Everybody seems to be sleeping. Veritas, did you get any sleep? Please tell me you got some sleep.
Looks at you silently.
Oh, buddy. Rubs the blob.
Blob kind of pats down and stops, kind of like lean over, and just takes that smaller round shape that you're more familiar with. I'm just really glad that you're all right, but Eve, do be careful. I know that Stillhabity is still after you. The blob is now sleeping.
Smiles. Pets the blob a little bit and just kind of sits back and reaches for her journal. That I assume is not there.
It's in the bag of holding.
Is the bag of holding here?
Yes, that's still in your vicinity.
Okay. Eve starts by patting around her side pockets, looking for the usual place, and it's like, oh, okay, that's, oh, this is gonna be embarrassing, isn't it? But in much the way that someone with a cat who has fallen asleep on them is not allowed to move. Eve is just gonna stay where she's at and wait for everyone to wake up.
And Bash and Gazrakul, what would you be doing?
Sleeping, most likely.
Alright.
You said it was early morning?
A bit early, yes.
That would have been... Would have been sleeping, but will eventually waken.
Actually, Eve is going to, while Veritas is presumably dead to the world, assuming that he's absolutely exhausted after a whole sleepless night, is going to just take out her lyre, I think, because it's quieter than the viol, and just play a little quiet song, kind of like a lullaby.
One thing I would say that you would also notice, Eve, is that you're used to the sight of Veritas in his most relaxed state, the blob that's a bit see-through, with with that kind of opaque color and that orb in there. But you see the red gem, a red gem that's glowing, that's also swirling around.
Mm-hmm. Would I recognize where it's from?
I think you likely would.
Oh dear. Eve finds that quite saddening.
The light music is enough to wake Gazrakul as they come to. So you do live.
Takes her hand from the strings and waves. That I do. Sorry for the scare.
Yes, well, it was rather inconvenient having to get you out of that tunnel, that labyrinth. But we managed.
Oh, yeah, I'd imagine it would be. Since I was the one who was hoping to have an exit strategy for us in the first place. Thank you guys for that.
No problem. Thank the gods you're not a dwarf.
Say, you guys wouldn't happen to have seen my journal, would you?
It fell out of your pocket during transport. We picked it up and put it in the bag of holding for safekeeping.
Oh, okay, thank you. So you didn't actually look through it at all?
Why? Is there something we should have seen?
I mean, in this particular scenario, no, not really, but hopefully this won't happen again, but if it ever becomes a more permanent solution, then yeah, I'd like you guys to take a peek at the front at some point. Wait, did I put in the front or back?
Well, we will remain watchful for your next near-death experience.
I don't suppose I could make an insight check.
You can if you want to.
Seems on the level.
I will say there technically was no deception because we haven't lied yet. We just said we didn't answer the question.
That's why Eve was making the insight check, because she noticed that they were dodgy about not answering the question.
Which, in a sense, is an omission. I would say roll what you would like to roll. What you feel is appropriate, Gauss or cool.
Oh gosh. I guess, would perception work? Just dodging? Probably not.
No,
Let's see.
I'd say...
You tell me what to roll. I'm not sure what would be applicable.
It would be your choice between the charisma checks. Performance, persuasion, deception.
They're all going to be the same. Just enough.
Just enough.
You see faint relief on Eve's face. Oh, okay, well, when everyone else wakes up... Is everyone sleeping in the same room?
It's starting to sound like it. Bosch, are you sleeping in this room?
I wasn't sure where we are.
This is still the Temple of Saloon.
Okay.
Considering that Eve was also responsible for setting up your guys' basically place of rest for the past couple of nights, you were offered a place to stay here in the Temple of Saloon.
Okay. Well, slight retcon then. The Bosch was outside of the room somewhat, maybe like can we say he was getting to get freshly baked bread before Eve woke up? I don't know what else he'd be doing
Sure.
out. Okay. And yeah, when he hears the sound of Eve's voice, you hear loud footsteps running. Doop, 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 doop. Bosch looking in. We're dead.
Oh. Hi, Bosch. Yeah, I sure wasn't I? Sorry about that.
Where are you sorry? Sorry, that came out wrong. That's just I had to have you back.
Thanks, Bosch. And you're right, I guess that's a good point. I really should stop apologizing so much, shouldn't I?
Alright. Got bread. I'll bet, well, I don't know. Would you be hungry? Bread, though.
I'm starved.
But he
He
is
says
too.
politely, even if it's not true.
Let's let him sleep, at least for a little while.
I think that's a good idea. Sounds like you guys had a hectic but productive rest of your time there.
Yeah. And we have a fish for now. I don't think we can keep him here, because... I mean, what are we going to do with the fish? But,
I'm sure we can find someone who'd like to have a little pet fish to look after. If no one here in the temple wants a pet fish, I mean, maybe I can bring him back to my dad.
Emergency rations at the very least.
that's what the bread's for. I'm sorry, I'm just...
just so glad to have you back.
Thanks, Bosh. I'm glad to be back. I'll make sure not to go anywhere again anytime soon.
I don't
Glancing around.
go anywhere.
Well, as much as we hate to say this, now that we've knocked out one powerful figure in Waterdeep's underworld, we have yet one to go.
Yeah, we did kind of mix up the order a little bit, but that's next on the list, considering how suspicious the whole area sounded. Glancing over, by the way, is Chelovy still asleep?
It looks like she is woken up a little bit, looking over at all of you, and you can see that she has a gentle smile on her face and probably a few tears, but is otherwise remaining silent.
Eve smiles back and gives a little wave. Good morning.
Glad to see that you're awake.
Me too. Right, so Veritas said something concerning when he was catching me up on what I'd missed. Glancing around at everyone. He said that Stillavity showed up and that he wanted me to come back? Does that sound right?
Well, he can't very well take anything from you if there's no you left.
I thought he was waiting around for me to die so he could snatch my soul or whatever.
It was...
Is that how that works, though?
It was
I don't know,
strange.
is it?
He seemed almost respecting.
Incredulous expression on Eve's face. Stillavity? Of me dying? That's... Huh.
Even told us
Right.
that we probably wouldn't find someone being able to resurrect you. Which, in a way, I suppose he was right.
Yeah, we tried. Ollie couldn't do it.
Really?
Nope, I couldn't do it. As Holly has arrived in the doorway.
Hi, Holly.
Hello. Oh my. It seems that you've come back to life all on your own.
Yeah, I guess I have. With a little bit of help from a friend, but
A little bit more than that, I'd say.
oh, right. I wanted to. Oh, Veritas is sleeping now.
I am very much pleased to see that you are alive, but the situation has changed just a little bit. Holly will go ahead and pat your face and heal you for 70 points of healing.
Oh, 70.
Yeah, let's heal.
Oh, hey, you feel a lot better now. Thanks.
Good. You will need it. Today is going to be a long day.
Why?
Do
What's
you know
going on?
something we don't?
Well, I only just found out recently So, whilst there were plenty that knew that Eve held some of Mistress Flame, it was another matter to know whether or not Eve would be able to actually use it.
Ah, looking around at everyone sheepishly. Right, so that's what I meant to say. That's a thing I can do now. Turns out I can actually harness that power after all.
Ooh, so how do you do it?
Well, I just think about how amazing all of you guys are and how we're gonna be alright, and so is the rest of the world, because we've got Toril's back, and we're not gonna let anything happen to it.
You are truly quite the aberration, Eve Arquette.
Guess that's one way to put it.
Closer to a celestial, actually.
Oh, whoa, that's that's a lot.
In terms of classification, we don't see too much difference.
Anyway, you said that. What's this about my being able to use Mistress Flame being a problem?
Well, that would be because it is apparent that heaven is a bit in a tizzy. Mister apparently lied to everyone when everyone asked. So, you are all aware of the trial going on with Tommen, yes?
Ah,
Indeed.
Yes.
Part of that trial was evaluating truly how much Eve's soul was worth to Vecna, and whether or not it was within his right or within Mistra's right. Mistra is the one that determines whether or not someone can even use their flame or not. And Mistra had apparently told the rest of them that you could not.
I mean, she wasn't lying, because I couldn't before. Ironic, I know that it took this happening to change that, but I didn't have the slightest clue of how to use it before. I'd been trying.
Whether Mistra was wrong or Mistra lied, either is rather entertaining coming from a god.
It is.
But the debate was about whether Mistra or Vecna had the right to do what regarding me, exactly.
Well, it was about whether or not either of them had right to claim you as chosen.
Pardon?
Well, you were wielding Vecna's book and were exploring it a bit.
Wielding is a strong word. Oh, God, that was a stupid mistake.
Vecna saw the potential in you and so wanted you to be his chosen.
He tried to kill me.
Part of becoming his chosen.
Eve Arquette, chosen of Vecna. Now that has a ring to it.
Oh, don't make me barf. But Mistra as well? Well, I guess with this... fire... Wait, what is...
I mean, wouldn't she want to lie the other way? Unless she didn't want Eve as a chosen.
Lying to the god of lies is something of an art.
To the god of lies. Oh, I guess they would be there too, huh?
Lies and secrets are often bedfellows.
So, Holly, wait, is the issue that Mr. wants me as her chosen, or is the issue that she doesn't?
That is the other issue. Mistra hasn't been seen in heaven for a few hours at this point.
Oh.
She was at the hearing for Tommen, but hasn't shown up in a while. She's obviously fine because magic is still functioning as normal, but no one knows where she is.
That is concerning.
It is.
Have any theories? You seem to be privy to quite a lot.
I am privy to what Tommen has been telling me.
Tommen's been in direct communication with you?
During his recesses.
Okay, alright. Huh. So in the end, the trial seems to be coming down to whether whether Tommen broke the rules or whether Vecna did, with taking me as a chosen when they didn't have the right to, versus Tommen interfering, I guess.
That would be the simplified version of it, yes?
Oh, shite, okay.
But there's more confusion. Despite these recent developments and Mistress' disappearance, Vecna has not pushed the matter.
What do you mean he hasn't pushed the matter?
He dropped the charges.
Oh! Wait, so wouldn't that mean Tommen's free to go?
It would, if not for the other recent developments.
Tommen, what is it now?
He is under suspicion of betraying heaven.
Tommen?
Yes.
How?
His recent actions have been quite odd. As well as the actions
During the trial?
as well as the actions of Stillhavity.
You're not telling me they think Tommen's working with Stillhavity, are you?
They think that it's odd that Stillhavity is seemingly knowing of things that he shouldn't.
Things that he shouldn't, like what?
He shouldn't have known that you were all in Xanathar's lair at the time.
What do you mean? He and Xanathar were directly working together. What would be stopping Xanathar from just telling him, hey, your people looking for you are here in my lair, or do some shit about it?
That's the thing. Because of your death, the moment was looked at quite a bit. Xanathar did not communicate to Stillhavity.
They couldn't just use, like, regular magic to see Even if Xanathar had, ways of keeping his hideout secret, they weren't there the whole time.
Xanathar has
I've
ways
seen
of
that.
keeping his hideout secret from mortals.
Yeah. So I mean, still have any of found us there.
It is,
Or I don't know about this stuff.
it is an odd coincidence.
But what's that got to do with Tommen specifically? Surely Tommen's not the only person who could have tipped him off. Tommen is in the middle of a trial. Well, I mean, he's communicating with you during recesses, but...
And has been stalling the trial, even though it has been a relatively simple dispute. And also, there have been times during his recesses where he has disappeared, apparently. He doesn't spend every recess speaking with me, after all.
Disappear? What, they just let people who are on trial just leave?
No.
Okay, but he comes back, right?
That is correct.
Then, why would he do something like that if he was betraying heaven? Wouldn't he just abandon ship?
This I don't know. I have asked him. He has not told me.
Holly, I'm gonna ask you a question that I don't know if you can answer. But, I mean, it's against the rules for the deities to divulge certain information about themselves, but you're not one of them. You just happen to know one of them. Do you know what Tommen is the god of in the first place?
Oh. Well, Tommen is the god of stories.
Fucking call, bitch! I'm sorry.
You sure did, Cassandra.
I fucking knew it. Excuse me. Back in character. God of stories.
Yes.
Tommen's the worst damn storyteller I've ever met in my life. He can't remember shite about anything. None of the fine details are there. Pardon, I guess I shouldn't be dissing someone who's currently on trial.
Well, Tommen has a particular way of going about it. He is the god of stories, but he prefers collecting them rather than telling them.
Ah,
Hence the bar.
interesting. Ah. Okay, that makes sense.
He will regurgitate stories every once in a while, specifically when they're needed.
Is his real name Tommen, or is that just a farce?
That is his current name, yes.
Do you know any others that he has?
He did have another name, but that, I don't know that one.
Insight check.
Sure.
Nope.
She rolled a natural 1.
Oh!
Damn.
How do I put this? She doesn't know what the previous name is. But you get the sense she could easily find out.
could you maybe find out? It might help with unraveling all this mystery and clearing Tommen's name. Would help to have a name to clear.
Well, that name isn't really important anymore.
Why not?
Well, because he's not that god anymore.
He was an entirely different god before?
Yes.
Which god? What was he the god of before?
He was a god of magic for a different world. He has told you as much, that he is from a different place, I'm certain.
He has let that slip, I think. God of magic. Okay. Well,
But that's who he was.
that's...
And that was a long, long time ago.
Well, I mean... Sure, he's not that person anymore. People change and grow and become different versions of themselves, and that's great, but having some information about a person's background and past, even if they've changed, can be helpful. Knowledge is power, and if we can use that power to protect someone who deserves it, then isn't that power that we should have access to for the sake of our friend?
Maybe.
You said he used to be a different person. I don't think this whole thing is him wanting to change who he is again.
I doubt that. The situation that surrounded his changing was outside of his control.
It's actually kind of comforting.
Do the other
Don't want to
gods
see it.
know who he was? Sorry.
A few do. Mistra knows, 'cause Mistra. And I believe the matron of Ravens knows as well. Saloon knows, 'cause I know.
Bosh, were you gonna say something?
I was just saying, I wouldn't want to see Tommen as a different person. I kind of like the way he is.
Mm-hmm. The Matron of Ravens.
The Raven
And
Queen.
Mistra.
I'm
Yes. I'm familiar. We all are, I think. Interesting that she'd be one of the ones to know.
Yeah.
Petting Veritas. Yeah, that's how we're all familiar. Hope he's doing okay. She seems to be rather active with the current goings on as well. I wonder if that's got some link to what she knows with all this. Is she in the trial as well?
I thought all the gods were in the trial. Was it just one of each aspect?
Yes, and as Mistra and the Raven Queen share a similar viewpoint on things, only Mistra needed to be there.
So the Raven Queen isn't there.
No, but she has been paying attention.
I'm sure she has. Okay. Alright, God, this is a lot of information to process immediately after coming back from the dead.
I do apologize, but a lot has happened.
Yeah. You said that this would be a long day for us because of these matters. Do you have some sort of plan where we could help out somehow?
I do not know how we can do anything to affect things. I was merely saying that because I know that all of you are dear friends of Tommen, so... And also, I'm willing to bet that the gods weren't the only thing that noticed.
Hmm. Right. Holly, this might be coming out of nowhere, but how do you know Tommen in the first place? I don't think we ever asked.
Oh, well, it's a kind of a long story, but I guess we do have time. So, I was wandering through Waterdeep when all of a sudden I saw that, that door, and she kind of stops in the middle of saying that as if something just got her attention. And then she looks back to the door. And as she does that, all of you feel the air in the room start to turn cold a little bit.
Oh, shite. He kind of shakes Veritas. Buddy, wake up, something's going down.
Oh, great.
What is it?
Oh, she noticed.
She.
Veritas transforms back into his elven form.
The door
At a moment's rest.
The door opens, and all of you feel like the light in the room just sort of dims, even the light from the sun. As you see Cass in the doorway.
Oh! Eve leaps to her feet.
Pretty bold of you walking in here like that.
Many have called me bold for some of the things I've done. Also, hello again, Holly. It's been a while. Holly just kind of stares at Cass.
Old friends, are you?
In another life. In any case, I'm not here to fight.
What are you here for then?
I'm here because the game has changed. Eve had to go and die.
Yeah, what's it to you?
I imagine you all have questions, yes, about what's going on, about why things are going like they are, why all of a sudden things have changed. Why Mr.
Well, yeah, but
why
I don't
Mr. was
understand
lying.
why you would tell us.
Well, it's simple. I'm here to trade. As you know, I am working for the God of Secrets.
Did we know that?
That's what Vecna is.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I have been told to give you some secrets in exchange for the book Eve.
What, you want my journal or something? Still writing in that?
No, the other book.
An overview of the planes of existence? Still have that on loan, sorry.
There's no need to be coy. We both know which one I'm talking about. The one that started this for you. Or at least my involvement.
So you do know now that I've got it.
I've known the whole time, honey.
Could have fooled me back in that graveyard. Seemed awfully fixated on something else.
Still have it interest me. Still is interesting.
You know he's going to betray you, right?
Maybe. We'll see who gets to the punch first. We both have our uses for each other.
If you underestimate him, you're gonna wind up as just another one of the many, many tools that he's used and then broken when he didn't need them anymore. If you break that bond now, might not be too late.
Well, either way, I'm not here for him. I'm here for Vecna.
Well, it is comforting to know that even dreadlords can be made to be lackeys.
Just a price of power.
A dread merchant, then.
Are you interested in what I'm selling?
Some piece of information. Looking over to Eve. We know
Wait.
how dangerous that book is.
That we do. And we haven't the foggiest clue of what Vecna will be able to do once he's got it back, since he seems so determined to get his grubby claws on it.
Must be a pretty good piece of information for such a trade. Looking
That's
back
what I
at
was going to
Cass.
say. It's how we know that we're going to want what you're telling us.
Well, Vecna is opening up his stores. Truly. Any secret you desire.
Singular secret.
Secret
That's
for each of you. I know some of you have more burning questions than others. Looks to Veritas. But Also, some more mundane looks to Chelavi.
Eyes squinting at Cass.
I think we all know what you want, Veritas.
Well, seems like it's been stated clear as day, which we'll get at the end of this. Turning back to Eve. Eve, don't feel pressured about this. Looking at you at the eyes. I do believe that we'll get them back.
Meeting Veritas's gaze. Where once you, at this point, would have seen someone torn and full of fear and anxiety and doubt, you just meet an even gaze looking back at you, with faint determination and a slight smile. We will. One way or another. Looks around at everyone else, trying to gauge how tempted everyone seems.
That's a toughie.
Josh is looking neutral, actually more looking to Eve to see what she wants to do. Not particularly tempted by this.
Chelavi and Tia?
You can roll an insight on Chelavi Eve, whereas Tia, Bosch, you get the sense that Tia does have a question in mind, but will not push for it. And Eve, for Chelavi, whatever question that Chelavi has, she is rather embarrassed by it.
We all have questions that we want the answers to. Don't we? But if there's one thing that I've learned about us after all this time, it's that we have the power to find our own answers. Turning back to Cass. If that's all you've got to bring to the table, I'm afraid we're going to have to respectfully decline Vecna's generous offer.
Really? You don't want the answers to your burning questions? Not even the ones that are seemingly out of reach?
I think you'll find that our reach is longer than you might think.
All the way to heaven?
If need be. You'll see. Don't worry.
Very well. I was expecting this, so a little bit of little something to sweeten the deal for my end. You know, before things have to get nasty. I don't know if you've heard, but I've taken up residence in the City of the Dead over the past few days, and I've been waking up the neighbors.
Rude. So what, you, got some noise complaints you want us to bring to administration or something? What's your point?
No, what I'm saying is that unless you want undead, as well as whatever else Still Havity is planning, I'll sit out.
Well, I don't know how closely you've been in communication with Still Havity for all this time. Has he told you how his other plans have been going?
Yes, left in charge of insane beholders and freaking sharks.
You forgot the mock-made machines that they were going to send out as well.
And we've got other leads that we're going to be chasing down, so
And
if you'd like
thank-
to add yours to the list of problems that we're going to solve, be our guest.
If you want it on the list, then fine.
If the other option's handing over a book to a crazy god of undeath, yeah, I think that sounds better.
Alright. Well then. Third offer truly is the final one.
Wow, you're really desperate, aren't you?
Vecna can name the person who's actually betraying heaven.
What,
Um,
himself?
Oh no, he is fully against heaven, and heaven knows that. Hence why he doesn't come and give it up of his own free will.
So you're saying that he was going to announce it to the rest of the court, laying them all here?
Hmm?
Or are you just letting them tell us who's betraying heaven?
Yeah, who would he be sharing that vital information with, huh?
Well, with all of you.
So just us, not the actual deities who would stand to do anything about it.
They would learn through you. Kind of looking over at Tia.
Is Vecna even a part of that whole council business up there?
He was until he dropped the charges.
There is a lot on offer here, Eve, if we can manage all three of these provisos.
Turning toward Gazrakul. Yeah, considering that it's been one offer at a time on the table here, One of each of these things seems pretty weak. But regardless, you have to keep in mind that if we give that book over, Stillhavity might not be the biggest problem we've got to deal with anymore.
Well, if we'd had the opportunity to peruse its pages, we might well have been able to tell you of its value ourselves.
Oh my... Really? You saw what happened when I did a little bit of that. That really's got you thinking, oh, I wish I could do that too, but more of it.
Gazi, you're asking for it. Remember when you turned into a statue?
We're simply arguing that getting everything that's on the table for a single book may well be worth at least some consideration.
Alright, glancing over at Cass. You want to give us some time to confer about it?
Very well. I will be in the city of the dead when you're ready to deal. One way or another, I imagine.
Just the general area.
I'll find you when you're in.
Great, well don't attack us on sight if you actually want to deal then.
Same goes to you.
Okay, well see you around.
It's nice seeing all of you again. Truly are the more interesting parts of this city.
Compliment taken.
And don't worry, Holly. I don't think we'll have a rematch. At least not this time. And Cass will leave. And the light kind of slowly returns to the room. Whew! I don't even breathe and I was holding my breath.
You've
Part of
fought
the
her
long
before.
history.
One of my echoes did. She is crazy.
So we kind of saw that. I was kind of tempted to offer to throw down right there, but I don't know how bad it would be.
I'm sure that wasn't it wasn't just her either.
Yeah.
Her sword usually isn't very far away.
Nyx, you mean?
Yes.
Holly, you know a lot about the gods. Do you know what Vecna would be able to do with that book?
With that book, actually, Vecna wouldn't be able to do that much with it. It's more about establishing better connections with his disciples. With his chosen. With that book, he'd be able to name a chosen.
Oh, fuck no. Okay, guys, come on. Obviously, we can't do that at this point, right? We just heard who he was trying to make his chosen, didn't we?
I know how bad it would be. It was interesting, to say the least, to hear what they were offering. But
That's true.
I feel like we have better insight into what's going on from that small that's small offering.
Although,
Kind
that last one would free Tommen, as well as put the right person away.
Indeed, we're not as close to Tommen as the rest of you, but you do seem very willing to let him suffer the price for this.
It's not about letting him suffer the price for this, Ozrakul. You're right, you don't know Tommen as well as the rest of us. And I guess none of us really know Tommen super duper well, but I know him at least well enough to know that he wouldn't want us to do this. He keeps talking about how important it is that we keep doing what we're doing. If one of us became a pawn for an evil god, that's definitely gonna throw a wrench in the things that he wants to happen, don't you think? Especially considering that the person who would stand to be taken over would be the person who has exactly the tool that's necessary for the job ahead. Now, anyway.
And the way that it makes it seem is that it's clear that it's clearly not Tommen, it's someone else in the Council of Heaven that's working with Stillhavity.
Mm-hmm.
I have some suspicions.
Oh?
Eve looks over at you. How trustworthy is fate?
Hmm.
Why would she tell you, even, about the location of my children?
Thinking back on it, did fate give a reason?
I don't think she did.
Well, I will say that she too seemed extremely interested as to whether I knew anything about why Tommen was stalling in the trial.
Wait, you spoke with Fate?
Oh, wait. You didn't know about that part?
No.
That's the reason why we even went to Xanathar's lair in the first place and asked about it.
Well, I don't know if, am I not supposed to tell people that I probably shouldn't tell people that I talked to Fate.
No, it's fine that happened. It's more that doesn't usually happen. At least
Talking to Fate? Yeah, I'd say not.
not like that, anyway.
I originally went seeking Ogma's advice, but he was indisposed, trial and all.
Right.
On the subject of fate, whatever is happening will come to a head in 5 days.
Oh?
The axis of our entwined destinies turns upon a ticking clock. Each day, the number decreasing as we perceive, as we read the portents. They have come back in the last week as 7, 6, and now 5.
That's not great.
Gaz, do you have any idea where that power of yours comes from? It must come from
Divination?
somewhere.
Well, it is a simple study of magic. It is a very specific school. Anyone well trained with its arts can read the portents. We are simply interpreting the information available.
But you said that you receive visions, don't you?
I don't know if it's different, but it seems that powers and magic all stem from somewhere. Mine, well, you know where mine come from.
Yeah, and you said that Still Havity was aware of what you saw in your visions as well, right? So it's clearly not just a matter between you and whatever magic you take a hold of, right?
Well, far be it from us to give a dissertation on the differences of arcana throughout Faerun, but ours is mostly a learned magic. How Still Havity was able to breach what is usually a one-way connection, we don't know. If you've noticed, we haven't had time to sit and study recently.
Yeah, and that kind of magic, admittedly, isn't usually linked to any god or anything. Glancing over at Holly. Holly, Fate. Is she even technically a god? Or is she something more?
Fate is an odd one. She is more of the embodiment of the concept.
So not technically a god like the traditional ones.
No, but she is often counseled by them.
Glancing toward Gazrakul. If anyone were to have sway over divination magic, magic that foretells the future, it would make sense for it to be fate, wouldn't it? That's essentially what you're reading when you receive your visions, is it not?
That is a logical conclusion. We have occasionally heard voices within the vision, a feminine voice, so we may be on the right track.
Okay.
But why?
I'm not here to jump to conclusions. But there's clearly more going on here, and I think we're seeing traces. The why, I can't begin to fathom.
In our last visitation, the voice asked, wouldn't it be better?
Wouldn't what be better?
We do not know. Divination is, unfortunately, for all its power, very imprecise.
Okay, well, what was happening when the voice asked that? Were you in a vision? Were you seeing something? What was going on?
It, very much like dreams, the visions sometimes fade in our memory. But we do recall having visited, and we may have mentioned this before, a plane of crystals.
A plane of crystals.
Indeed, we could not verify where we were, but the landscape was dotted with floating crystals of violet coloration, question mark?
No, they were actually more of a topaz coloration. And not really floating, they were actually more jutting up from the ground at odd angles.
Retconning to be that is what was detailed.
Mm-hmm.
Eve tapping her chin and goes to the bag of holding and digs around in it and brings out the book titled An Overview of the Planes of Existence. Cassandra has an idea of what this plane might be. It was actually one of the fun facts that I was going to have Eve sprinkle throughout her dialogue during our story when I thought it was going to be lighter in tone. But should I make some sort of roll?
Sure.
Okay. Which one?
Probably Arcana.
That's not great.
13.
Rolling real hot today.
I mean, it kind of sounds like that place, but doesn't it usually have more colors?
I'm sure that Veritas would not be able to find it familiar, right?
You can roll a history check with disadvantage.
A history check.
Mhm.
All right. Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, no.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Indeed, we do not know of this place either, though we have not dedicated ourselves to a thorough study of the planes, as we tend to use the divination to influence this one.
Eve starts reading from the book and summarizes it. So there's this demi-plane, right, called the Celestial Nadir, where this special crystal grows. It's been said that in skilled enough hands, that crystal can even be carved and grafted onto a body to replace a body part that had been lost. And it can give all sorts of crazy benefits, like improved healing abilities or enhanced strength and stuff like that. And it's all over the place in this demi-plane. That's the first thing that pops into my mind when I think a plane with lots of crystals, but glancing back up at Gazrakul, I feel like I've heard that those crystals come in many different colors and sizes and things. You said they were all one color.
Indeed.
Do you remember seeing anything else in this vision at all, or just a place with a bunch of crystals?
Just the place and the voice.
There was one other detail.
Which was
Signs of rubble.
ruins.
Yes.
They make that known. The voice, the crystals, and the ruins, and the rubble.
Ruins. Oh, I feel like there was a... it's not written in this book, but I feel like I've heard somewhere that there was some sort of building in that plane, but I don't remember anything else about it. Shite.
There weren't any people around aside from the voice, but there was like signs that people had lived there before.
Indeed, all the structures were reduced to ruin and rubble. But there was no other life that we could see in the vision. But as we have said, divination is powerful, but deeply untrustworthy and imprecise.
I mean,
Yeah.
I was going to say before, I think if you once said, and it was a mean version of you, that powerful people should make sure they're not manipulated. Fate is just a concept and not actually like a personality. Do we know that she would even want to help us?
Yeah.
She typically helps the goodly gods in warning their own chosen of impending dangers or guiding adventurers through tough times. I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time thinking about why she would do something like this.
So you're saying that it's not that unusual for her to tell Eve about where my children were?
Not so direct, but no, not particularly.
Hmm.
But usually it would be more like, well, like what Gus Rakula said, vague and left up to interpretation.
I mean, she didn't give it up easily or anything. I kinda had to convince her what a great person Veritas was and how he deserved to have his family back.
Eve.
But once she got that idea, she was willing to help.
Huh. Okay. I think we're going to start running around in circles.
Yeah, there's so much information all of a sudden, and it's hard to tell right away where each bit of it leads. Maybe
I
we should start by just focusing on the task at hand.
I hate
And
to always barrage, but we probably need to report this to the tower.
We might also stop by and let Jarlaxle know that the first part of our assistance is complete, and we have one more being to kill.
both good ideas, although I guess it wasn't really the first part of our systems. But yes, we at the very least need to warn the Blackstaff about the threat from the City of the Dead. And Jarlaxle should probably know that we kind of found the Xanathar's guild hideout and maybe also kind of killed him. And that we do still intend to go through with our original task as well.
Oh, by the way, out of character, would Eves keep the parapet of wound closure, or would she refuse to keep it?
She's still got it on? Is it an attunement thing?
It's an attunement item, yes.
Oh,
So
man.
it's
Hang on, let me look. Man.
yeah, the main thing about it is that you heal double the amount from hit dice on short rests, and if you were dying at any point, you would stabilize immediately on your turn.
That's crazy good. That's super good.
Also, the reason why Veritas wanted to give it to you, because it would keep Eve alive.
Yeah. Oh, man. See, I don't think Eve would refuse this gift from Veritas, considering how sincere it was. But man, Eve's current items are all really important. I guess the least important one would be the boots of striding and springing. I would just be 25 movement speed again.
You don't have to use it. That's something that Veritas would want to give to you.
Okay. I'll tell you this, if we ever wind up getting a downtime, it's, where Eve can replace some spells, then I think she would wind up using it then. Because then I could get rid of one of my items if I knew the spells.
Also, did we want to decide on who should get the rings as well? Or who wants to use them?
Are they all attunement?
Yep.
They're all attunement.
Oh boy.
Chalavi and Tia?
Yeah, that's another thing too. Is Celebi and Tia, they could use some items if they wanted.
I definitely agree that the Ring of Mind Shielding would probably be especially useful for Chalavi. Or Veritas, but are Veritas's attunement spots filled as well?
He would have one open, but I could use that for the sticky stick, which can just shoot webs.
That leaves one more ring.
The invisibility
Last
ring,
one.
right?
Two of them.
No,
That and the Force Resistance one.
oh yeah, the force resistance. That one's pretty good.
Well, if none of us have open attunement slots, except Veritas, who wants to use it for the sticky stick, maybe Tia, since she gets targeted a lot for stuff compared to Chalavi. For the Force Resistance ring, I mean. Unless someone wants to switch out something in their attunement slots for it.
I'm good. Pass them out.
Because we could give her that or the ring of invisibility, which would just make it so she could go invisible.
Or both, if no one wants that.
True.
I mean, we could also sell it, but, like, what are we gonna buy?
More sticks.
Always more sticks.
Eat more sticks.
You don't understand. It's a necessity.
I mean, get Veritas a stake of power.
Not gonna lie, one, he would want to at some point go back to Aetherius's shop to see if they have any more sticks.
Pretty sure that the stake of power is not available in this game. But, um, yeah. We could give. Let's see, would it be more useful? Yeah, I guess it's more useful. Shelavi to have, not Shelavi, Tia to have invisibility and force resistance. Shelavi usually isn't targeted.
Plus, if Tia had the Ring of Invisibility, she could be a scout by flying around while invisible.
This is very true. Invisible flying dragon is pretty amazing. Though I guess we would have to experiment and see if she can wear a magic ring in dragon form.
It's magic. I'm sure it's fine.
Isn't it the kind of thing where if it's a magic item, it kind of conforms to the wearer as they change?
Right, and usually the only stipulation about items like going through like in say like wild shape or polymorph or stuff like that is whether or not it makes sense for the thing to wield that item. And
We can have blinged out dragons.
and since
I don't
it's
see a problem with
and
that.
since it's just a ring, I'd say probably it would still work even in her dragon form.
Dragons love bling.
Yes, they do.
Well, not all dragons.
Tia,
Would
would
you
you
like
like the
the drink?
bling?
It is quite the generous boon. Are you all sure?
We're all drowning in our own items that we're using.
And you've been fighting by our side for so long. Why is it generous to offer you equipment that, will help keep you alive?
I
You
suppose.
deserve at least that much.
All right. I'll accept your very generous gifts.
Awesome. You too, Chalabi?
Are you sure you don't want it? Not
Me?
not having someone intrude in your mind is quite the boon.
Above table. Max, would Eve know?
Know what?
About what the Silver Fire's capabilities are?
Inherently, yes.
I think I've got something that can do the trick for that, actually. I, won't have it working all the time, but that fire is good for a lot more than just burning people.
That's terrifying. But alright.
I mean, we can hold on to the mind shielding thing in case we do decide to do the whole Vecna deal, and maybe it'll help you not be a slave.
I don't know if we
Joking.
want to bet on that.
That was a bad joke.
Although, there's something to be said about using it and going and pretending like we're about to make a deal so that we can get the upper hand. Nah, let's just go and blast it.
That's more our style. To the tower?
To the tower. And then to Jarlaxle.
Can we stop at the magic shop?
Of course. Don't see why not. Holly, thank you so much for all of your help, by the way.
My pleasure. Just
If we
do be careful
learn
with
anything
Cass.
that can be of help to Tommen, we'll be sure to let you know, and will you do the same?
I will let Tom know next time I can speak to him, but that might be a while, considering the circumstances. As for all of you, when it comes to Cass, please be careful.
Is there any... That's actually That's actually something good to mention. Is there anything we should worry about combat-wise? Anything particularly?
That ring you just gave to Tia would likely be one of the most useful things there.
Yeah, she does like digging around in people's brains, doesn't she?
No, the other one.
Oh, Nyx?
The Force Ring.
Oh!
It is her
Oh, shite.
Like blasting.
It is her preferred method of dealing damage.
That's true. I forgot about that.
I probably would have won if I had that ring.
Oh. Do you want to give it another go?
I think it'd be best if I didn't.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Any other tips for us if we're going to be taking them on?
know that Nyx will always be nearby. Even if you know Nyx is far away, she can be there at a moment's notice. At Cass's side.
Is it maybe better for us to take her out first?
She is also quite tough.
Oh, we saw that.
Which of them is more dangerous?
Definitely Cass.
Hmm. Okay.
Thank you, Holly. We'll stop by again. Hopefully not under the same circumstances, though.
Fingers crossed.
Veritas begins to head out of the temple.
Alright. Do you all head out?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, you all head out into the blaring sun of the morning of Waterdeep. Where do you go?
You might have seen this before, but the Tower of Blackstaffs.
Alright. You go to Blackstaff Tower, guards there, let you in, go up to the top. Doors open and waiting.
And opening the door. Excuse us.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Back again.
Hi.
Things just keep happening.
Vacations are a myth and you can't convince us otherwise.
Well, given how many times you've been here the past couple of days, I'd say so.
So, yeah. Some very interesting things have happened. Gestures to Veritas. Would you like to expand?
So, you know about Xanathar? Looking over.
Xanathar? I do. A rather annoying thorn in the side of Waterdeep.
He's dead. We killed him.
Sorry. You said you killed him?
Yeah, we found his lair underneath the castle ward, I believe.
Right.
Huh. Not too far away.
He
then.
he wanted to make us cooks for a little while. Didn't go that well.
Although, to be fair, while he himself is now deceased, while we were in his little guild hideaway, we did see what looked like beholders floating in tanks. So it seems maybe he has some spares or something? We can give you a description of where the entrance to the guild was if you would like it for Waterdeep's law enforcement.
That would be appreciated.
Definitely don't breathe in the purple gas, or just really be in the purple gas.
All right.
And that's not all either. Looking over at Eve, looking back, we also found another thing that's going to be befalling the city, and it's coming from the city of the dead. That Dreadlord that we mentioned, they're raising the army of the dead there and are planning to send it out in the same time as Stillhavity's invasion.
That's fantastic. Is there anything Stillhavity isn't doing?
He's certainly got his fingers in a lot of pies, yes. And I suspect that that's not the last of them, either. Yeah, when we mentioned an existential threat to the city, we were not joking. What are your thoughts about all this?
Well, that once one problem is situated, another two take its place. Exhausting, that's what I think it is.
Right.
I hate to ask this of you, but honestly, at the moment, you're the most capable adventuring party in Waterdeep.
Right.
You just
So
to do something else?
I'd like you to take care of this City of the Dead thing. Can you take this Dreadlord?
there are two of them, and they are both frighteningly powerful.
It's,
To what degree?
To what degree, huh? How to describe? Lady Blackstaff, can you read minds?
With the right spell, I can.
Do you have it on you?
I do, yes.
Well, I am having a hard time trying to come up with the words to describe how frightening these foes are. If you'd like, you can take it straight out of my brain.
it'd probably be faster than trying to explain it.
Get a nice bird's eye view of what they're capable of.
Alright. And she will kind of take the black staff and tap it on your head. and you can feel kind of a somewhat familiar presence kind of enter your mind.
Somewhat familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Eva's just going back through her memories of the times that we've had encounters with Cass and Nyx, between her knocking the greater demon into ash immediately, or no, it wasn't greater demon, but
The Tannerite.
Oh. yeah,
Yeah, Panera.
all of the incidents that we've had where Cass and Nyx have been showing their stuff.
You've really only mostly seen Nyx's capabilities.
Mm.
The time where you actually got a look at what Cass could do was the first time you met her. And that's when she fought Nistul.
Right, in the graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thinking about that too. And she'll also briefly think about the fact that Holly said that she once fought Cass, and also mentioned, oh, if I had a certain item, maybe I could have won, implying that she totally lost.
I see. Well, doesn't change the fact that it needs to be solved.
Yeah, and we do intend to do our best with that. Is there any sort of assistance that you can offer us? As this one is going to be a trying one.
There is.
Okay, what do we got?
You got me.
Lady Blackstaff, all due respect, I deeply appreciate that, but I don't know if that's a good idea.
Well, unfortunately, we're fresh out of good ideas.
Lady Blackstaff, you know that Stilavity is directly after you and the Blackstaff. If you just go traipsing around fighting his allies directly...
The other option is for Silverhand herself to help you.
That's probably an even worse idea.
Especially considering what you
Veritas
told me about this particular Dreadlord.
Veritas looks over at you, Eve. I agree with Lady Blackstaff. Eve, hear me out for a second. We know what Stilavity is and how he is. At this point, he's made it very clear that his moment that he will strike will be on that specific day. I genuinely believe that. I still believe that even with all this that is happening.
That's true. He does like his carefully laid out plans and schemes, but you really don't think he'd be opportunistic enough to take advantage of a moment of vulnerability like this? To get his hands on the thing that he wants more than anything right now?
He seems very sure of himself, of what is going to play out in the next 5 days. I think it's something else. That's my gut feeling. And I honestly don't think that clearing up the city of the dead will change that for him. But what it will change is how much damage is done to Waterdeep. And I know how much you care about this place, Eve.
course I do. Looking around at everyone. Back at the Blackstaff. All right. And I'm sure you don't need it, but we'll do our damnedest to make sure everything's all right and nothing bad happens to you. I know that sounds ridiculous coming from someone who's much less experienced than you, but this group's real good at taking care of each other. So just know that if you go out there, you're going to be a part of that too.
Right. It will take me a bit to prepare, but let me know when you want to meet up at the City of the Dead.
Okay. We've got one other lead as to one of Stillhavity's potential plots. A thread that we need to pull on as well. To know if we're going to do that first or this first. Glancing around at everyone.
We're currently unsure what that lead will lead us, and we know for certain the problem with the City of the Dead.
That's true. Glancing over at Gazrot Pool.
We've already put off bringing down Manchun once. It would be prudent to take care of it quickly.
Whoa. First Xanathar, now Manchun?
We like to think big around here.
Here's the thing, I'm sure you're aware of the stuff that's been happening lately with the criminal underbelly of Waterdeep, right?
Not as much as I'd like. They've gotten weirdly silent over the past few days.
Exactly. There have been rumors that the Zentarim in particular have been being hunted in whatever territory they have here, pretty much to extinction. And yet, we have received intel of somewhere that might belong to them that has been a hive of activity over the past few days. Considering everything that's been going on over the past few days, that's pretty suspicious, I'd say. And suggests that maybe Stillhavity has some additional allies.
If not allies, then sources of food. We've seen what happened with the Inspired Hands.
Right.
Again,
So yeah, that's the other lead.
We're not too sure of what horrible things that will bring in.
And we do have our whole thing of, like, taking care of one problem and having two pop up.
Yeah.
It can possibly just keep happening, right?
Eventually, we're going to run out of problems because there are only so many things that I'm sure Stillhavity has got laid out. I'm sure that he thinks that even the things he had laid out would be overkill, because he surely didn't expect for us to be able to take down so many of his schemes.
And then
He's gonna run out.
And when that does, that just leaves us with one big problem.
Which we'll handle just like all the others.
Well, what do the rest of you think? When should we meet up?
I mean, the other thing we have to worry about is if we go take care of one thing, we're gonna get tired doing it.
Mm-hmm.
5 days.
5 days. We don't really have, like, little things we can do. It's only things that need to be done.
Yep. No rest for the wicked.
We're wicked?
I guess that's more for the person who set all these things up.
I see.
But, Lady Blackstaff, can we get back to you on which one of these we intend to tackle first?
Well, see that you do quickly.
That's something you can rest assured on.
I mean, Cass said that she's been waking up the dead. If we let her keep doing that, is the problem going to get worse before we deal with it?
That's a good point. That sounds like it's a continuously building situation there. Maybe we should tackle that one first. We don't know what's going on with Manchun, potentially. But whatever we do about the City of the Dead, it's gonna be over quickly one way or another. After that, we rest up and then we tackle the next thing on the list.
We should see if we can't contract one of the temples in the city to just send 20 clerics with us to the City of the Dead. We think that would solve that problem.
That would help a lot with the undead.
Indeed.
I can see what I can muster.
I feel bad about putting them in danger like that, though. But it's their city too. I'm sure that they'll want to help in any way they can if there's a threat. Okay. Lady Blackstaff, how long do you think preparations will take for this?
It'll take the better part of a day just to get things prepared. For me, at least.
Is it still morning?
Yes.
So, like, this evening, or like tomorrow morning, or...
I could be ready this evening.
Unless you want to do tomorrow morning, in which case we maybe tackle the other one first. I mean, I don't want to rush your preparations. It's going to be important, I'm sure.
Mostly just getting my hands on the right reagents.
We should probably also prepare ourselves.
Yeah.
Make sure that we're fully geared for a pretty difficult fight.
Alright, let's do it. I guess we'll be back this evening. See you then.
Alright?
Bye bye.
Goodbye.
You all leave Blackstaff Tower, making the rounds after hearing about this interesting deal that Cass has to offer. But we'll see how that all plays out, as well as the rest of your errands, next time.